The story begins with a boy named Sakasa walking down a street when there are suddenly steel beams that fall down at him. But a girl named Shizuri deflects them with her sword, and he's surprised by her outfit, wondering if she doesn't feel embarrassed. She asks him if he's hurt since he's spacing out, but he tells her he's fine, and he thanks her for saving him. She mentions that the steel bars were actually demons, which confuses him, so she notes that the reason he's always been involved in accidents is because of the demons. She reveals that the demons are after people like him who have samurai's blood, and she mentions that the ninjas are the ones that protect them. But seeing the look on his face, she realizes that he doesn't believe her, so she tells him to look behind him, and he sees a demon turn to dust. She reveals that the reason he started to see demons is because his samurai blood has awakened, so they will start attacking him relentlessly. She advises him to let her protect him, but she mentions that she has a condition. He realizes that he doesn't have a choice, because he needs her to protect him, so he accepts the deal. But she suddenly starts asking him questions about his home, which makes him wonder what kind of person she is. They go to his house, where she changes her clothes, and she begs him to support her while she fights for him. She's happy when he agrees to it, and she starts playing video games after getting permission from him, as she introduces herself as a ninja and a gaming nerd. A week passes, and she's living her dream life, where she only eats, sleeps and plays video games, but she assures him that she'll try her best to fight the demons who attack him. She wonders if he's angry, but he mentions that he's happy, and he explains that he has always been alone because he's bad at socializing. So he thinks she might be suffering by living with him, but she mentions that he's the best person she has ever met. He tells her he likes having her around, and she wonders if he likes dried-out women, but he notes that it's not the case, so she mentions she was only joking. She thanks him for his hospitality, but as she goes to take a bath, she starts to lose her mind, wondering if he noticed that she was blushing while talking to him. After that, she defeats a demon trying to attack Sakasa, and he thanks her for saving him again, but she mentions that she's just doing her job. She thinks he's different from the other masters she served, because he doesn't care if she spends all her time playing video games, but she can't even enjoy doing it anymore after he told her that he likes having her around. She considers helping around the house, but she knows that it's not how a weeb like her should think, so she plans on talking to Sakasa about the situation. As he returns home, she's surprised that he brought her a shirt from a game she likes. He notes that it's his way of showing appreciation for her protecting him, but she mentions that she should be thanking him for taking care of her. She goes to the bathroom, but she feels embarrassed for what she did, and she plans to tell him that she wants to continue living her life as a degenerate. She challenges him to play against her, thinking she will easily defeat him, but she ends up losing the game. So she wonders if he's played it before, and he reveals that he won a championship once, so she decides to fight him seriously. But she's still no match for him, and she can't even win a single match. But she starts to lose her mind, and she challenges him to a rematch, but he mentions that he needs to do laundry first. At night, Shizuri senses a demon attacking Sakasa, so she goes to save him, and as the demon tries to attack him, she protects him with a shield. She gives him a game, telling him to complete a mission, and as he plays it, she defeats the demon for him. After that, Sakasa mentions that he needs to go on a business trip, so she gives him an amulet, telling him it will keep him safe for a week, because it hides his samurai blood and deceives demons. But she tells him he shouldn't think about breaking his contract with her, because it takes a lot of effort to make the amulet, but he assures her that he isn't thinking about that. He mentions that he isn't worried about being alone, but he isn't sure if she can live alone, and he gives her money to buy food before he leaves. As she's going through her phone, she sees a rare figure of a character she likes, but she thinks she can't ask Sakasa to buy it for her, so she decides to spend the food money he gave her. She survives eating nothing but bean sprouts, and after he returns, she begs him to cook a meal for her, but she's shocked seeing he bought the same figure for her. As Shizuri wakes up the next day, she realizes that Sakasa has gone to work, but he forgot his lunch, so she calls him and offers to bring it to him. But he wonders if it's okay for her to leave the house, and he asks her where she is so he can go to her, but she suddenly appears in front of him. She reveals that she used a teleportation technique, but he wonders if it's okay for people to see her. So she assures him that she made sure no one could see her, but he thinks that even if no one noticed her teleportation technique, her outfit still makes her stand out. He thanks her for bringing his lunchbox, and she asks for a favor, saying a video game she likes has been released, so he tells her to buy it, which makes her happy. Meanwhile, another ninja named Aya sees a tweet about Shizuri, and she starts to lose her mind, since she's been trying to find her for several years. She considers Shizuri as one of the greatest geniuses in the ninja clan, and she wishes to dedicate everything to her, thinking she'll be the future leader of the clan. But as Aya reaches her home, she's shocked to see her playing video games. Tsukasa tells Shizuri to look outside, where she sees Aya crying, so she lets her in. Aya can't believe what Shizuri has become, and she starts to insult her appearance, wondering if Tsukasa is responsible for her present condition. She mentions that she'll take care of him, so Shizuri tries to intimidate her using her aura. But instead of getting scared, she gets turned on, so Shizuri sends her flying, telling Tsukasa everyone she knows isn't that weird. Tsukasa makes tea for Shizuri, but she's too focused on the game she's playing, and he notes that she should go to sleep. As she continues to play, she gets distracted when someone keeps knocking at the window. She looks to see who it is, and she's shocked to see a ninja named Hina, who's crying in their balcony. There's suddenly a power outage, and Shizuri loses her mind, because she lost all of her progress in the game. Hina starts suffering due to the storm, and she begs them to help her, so they let her in. Shizuri notes that she's still unlucky, and as Sukasa's phone suddenly breaks, Shizuri realizes that her bad luck spreads to others, so she considers her as a gamer's enemy. Hina reveals that she has broken a taboo of the ninja village, because she has fallen in love with her master, and she starts crying, saying she tried to suppress her feelings. She thinks she doesn't deserve to be with her master, but Shizuri notes that it's not true, and Hina wants to become her disciple. After that, Hina shoots a fireball at a demon, but it easily deflects it, so Shizuri tells her to fight with everything she's got, because beginner ninjutsu won't work on it. As Shizuri defeats the smaller demons, she thinks Hina will be okay if she uses intermediate ninjutsu. But as she tries to attack the demon, she accidentally throws her attack towards Shizuri, making her realize that Hina can only use beginner ninjutsu because of her bad luck. The demon rushes towards them, so Shizuri defeats it using her sword, and she tells Hina she has potential, telling her to have confidence in her abilities. Tsukasa arrives there and tells Shizuri to rest, since she hasn't slept for a while, but she notes that even though she tries to slack off all the time, she needs to show her abilities since Hina is depending on her. But he mentions that she never slacks off when protecting him, which makes her face turn red. Hina apologizes to her, and she mentions she won't bother Shizuri since she was injured because of her, but she tells her that it's not the case. Hina is shocked as she sees her master Toru, and he notes that he was worried about her, so he came to check on her. He tells her she shouldn't overdo things, because he's already happy with how hard she works for him, and Tsukasa thinks he and Shizuri are also like them. Another demon appears, and it's about to attack Toru, so Hina stands in front of him, telling him she will protect him. As she prepares to attack it, she thinks about how she has always been scared of using her full power, since she has bad luck. But even when she held herself back, Shizuri still got injured. So she attacks the demon using a beginner ninjutsu, but Shizuri thinks it won't be able to defeat it, so she decides to interfere. But as Hina throws a fireball at the demon, Shizuri is shocked at her power, and the demon blows up. Hina can't believe she defeated a mid-level demon on her own, but she realizes that Shizuri also got caught in the explosion. After that, Shizuri and Tsukasa return home, and she nails the door shut, so that no one can interrupt them. She starts playing the game, and he tells her to sleep, since she hasn't slept for a while, but she notes that she needs to complete the game first. He suddenly gets a call from his company, telling him there's an emergency, so he needs to come to work. He tells her he needs to leave, but he realizes that she's already asleep. As he goes outside, Aya suddenly threatens him with her knife, telling him to cancel the master-servant contract between him and Shizuri. She's jealous that he gets to live with her, and she threatens to kill him if he doesn't cooperate. But he doesn't think she can do it, because he knows that killing is taboo for ninjas. She steps back, and he tells her they should have a calm discussion about the situation, but she attacks him, saying she will let him go after she cuts off his limbs. She mentions that she'll make him suffer, but a demon suddenly attacks both of them. His phone is broken, so he can't call Shizuri for help, and the demon prepares to attack him again, but Aya hits it with her fireball. He thinks she's seriously injured, but he realizes that she's actually enjoying herself. She takes out her sword, as she covers herself in flames, and she attacks the demon, killing it in an instant. She's satisfied with the technique she used to kill the demon, but she wishes it was still alive, so that she could attack it again. But another demon appears, and it starts punching her, but Tsukasa can't believe that she enjoys getting hit. She's about to reach her limit, and she doesn't understand why a high-level demon is going after Tsukasa. But a light suddenly comes out of her body and vaporizes the demon. After the dust settles, Tsukasa realizes that Aya is actually a guy, and he asks him why he's been pretending to be a girl, so Aya notes that he hates being a man. He knows that he doesn't have the right to ask Tsukasa for a favor, but he begs him to never reveal his secret to Shizuri, and he's shocked as she appears behind him. She walks closer, so he throws himself at Tsukasa to keep Shizuri from finding out his secret. She gets angry, telling him to take his hands off Tsukasa, but he notes that he can't move. She takes out her knife and prepares to attack Aya, but instead of feeling scared, he becomes excited. Tsukasa stops her, telling her Aya can't move because he protected him from a demon, but she finds it hard to believe. Aya sees 2 balls on the floor, so he puts them in his chest to fool Shizuri, and he apologizes to her for falling on Tsukasa, saying he was feeling dizzy. After that, Shizuri tends to Tsukasa's wounds, and she apologizes since she wasn't there to protect him, but he notes that it's his fault for going out without thinking. She mentions that her only duty is to protect him, and even though he takes good care of her, she couldn't even do her job, so she understands if he wants to replace her. But he mentions that he feels comfortable having her around the house, which makes her face turn red. She notes that if that's the case, she'll continue to live with him, because she also likes their current arrangement. She tells him to play games with her, and he thinks they should rest since it's getting late, but she reminds him that it's his day off tomorrow. The next day, as Tsukasa goes to take out the trash, he notices that both of his neighbors are moving out. He realizes that Aya is moving into their building, and Shizuri is shocked because she sees Hina living in the apartment next to them. Hina tells Shizuri she shouldn't worry because when she's spending time with Toru, bad things rarely happen. Hina mentions that her bad luck depends on her mental state, so Shizuri tells him to keep her happy no matter what. Shizuri asks Aya what he was doing with Tsukasa the other night, so he explains that he accidentally ran into him, but he gets excited as he feels Shizuri's bloodlust. Shizuri notes that since they're neighbors now, she warns them not to interfere with her time with Tsukasa, but she's embarrassed after she realizes what she just said. After that, Tsukasa falls ill, and Shizuri asks him if he needs anything, so he asks her to make him rice porridge. She knows that he's usually the one who does everything, but she thinks she can take care of things while he's sick. She goes to make rice porridge, but she has no idea what to do, so she starts adding every ingredient she finds, but she realizes that it tastes terrible. She asks Tsukasa if he can just eat ice cream, so he realizes that she wasn't able to cook the porridge, and he tells her to take his wallet. As she rushes out, she runs into a demon, and she easily defeats it, but she loses his wallet. Hina arrives with Toru, and she wonders what Shizuri is doing, so she tells Hina she needs help. Hina cooks the porridge, and Shizuri apologizes for making her work, but she mentions that she's happy to help. So Shizuri thinks she's an angel, thinking she's nothing compared to her. Hina can't believe Shizuri is cooking for Tsukasa, which embarrasses her, and she explains that she's making it for herself. She gives him the porridge, and he thanks her for it, causing her to blush, but she rushes out, as she mentions that she needs to take a bath. He eats the porridge, and he finds it delicious, while she tries to play a game to calm herself down, but she's shocked to see that a limited time event in the game has ended. Tsukasa heads to the grocery store, where his neighbor Himari works as a cashier. She's surprised that he's shopping early in the day, so he explains that he needs to get all of it done on his day off. She thinks about how he used to have dead eyes, but he has changed completely after Shizuri moved in with him. She thinks they're a couple, but she tells herself she must be wrong because her love sensor doesn't react to him at all. We learn that she has been secretly watching him, and she was excited when Shizuri moved in with him, but the thrill was only temporary, since Shizuri is a complete shut-in. She leaves all of her chores for Tsukasa to do, while she spends all of her time playing video games. And on the rare occasion that she goes out, it's only to buy bean sprouts, after she uses her lunch money to buy more game items. Shizuri decides to go shopping with Tsukasa one day, and she accidentally falls on him. Himari secretly watches them again, and she's surprised that even though he's in such a lucky situation with Shizuri, he doesn't seem to care. As they go shopping, she still can't believe they aren't in love with each other, and Himari also secretly watches Hina and Toru, thinking they're a real couple. She gets excited seeing them kiss, and she thinks being lovey-dovey with each other is their main thing. but she has noticed that Hina causes explosions once in a while, thinking it's because the single people of the world are rooting against them. Tsukasa wonders why Shizuri never takes off her ninja suit, and she notes that it's to make sure she can play games till the last moment. She explains that if a demon appears, she just needs to take off her tracksuit, and she'll be ready to fight. He asks her if it doesn't get dirty, but she reveals that it's a materialization of a shinobi's will, so it's always clean. He realizes that the same doesn't apply to her tracksuit, so he decides to clean it for her, and he gives her his hoodie to wear while he washes it. After that, as Himari returns to her apartment, she sees Aya being attacked by Shizuri, who's angry at him. But he tries to get close to her, and he begs her to threaten him even more, so she sends him flying. Himari rushes to her room, which is filled with posters of rom-com shows, and she's surprised to see Shizuri wearing Tsukasa's hoodie. She notes that she wasn't expecting them to fall in love, and she tells herself she needs to learn from her mistake, so she continues to observe them. Tsukasa gives Shizuri her tracksuit after it dries, and he realizes that she isn't wearing her ninja suit, so she notes that it's too hot to wear it. He tells her to wear the tracksuit, but she mentions that she likes his hoodie, so she wants to wear it a little longer. Tsukasa's computer starts to act up, so he searches the internet for a solution, but he can't find anything useful. Shizuri challenges him to another game, saying she's been training hard, so she believes she'll win, and as they start playing, she manages to defeat him. She starts another match, as he mentions that it's time for him to buy a new computer, and he's thinking about buying a gaming PC with decent specs, so that she can use it to play games. But he doesn't know how to find a good gaming computer, so he invites her to go shopping with him, which makes her excited, as she thinks it's a date. She goes to take a bath, as she wonders what she'll wear for her date, because the only thing she has is her tracksuit. She thinks about buying new clothes, but she can't afford it, and all the shops are already closed. The next day, after Tsukasa leaves, Shizuri tries to go to Hina for help, but Aya tells her she's on a date with Toru. Shizuri tells Aya she needs something to wear, but she doesn't tell him about her date, and he tells her she wouldn't fit in Hina's clothes due to her height, so he offers to give her a dress. But in return, he asks her to do the thing he likes, and seeing that she has no other choice, she accepts his offer. As Aya helps her pick clothes and put on makeup, he asks her if her relationship with Tsukasa is beyond that of a master and a servant. Shizuri wants to make him jealous, so she mentions that Tsukasa finds it comforting to live with her, but she's shocked when he tells her that Tsukasa thinks of her as a pet more than a lover. He thinks it's his chance to take her away from Tsukasa, but she threatens to end his life if he keeps talking, and he's happy to feel her bloodlust. While Tsukasa is waiting for Shizuri, he's surprised that she's conscious about her clothes, because he didn't think she cared about fashion. So he realizes that he doesn't understand everything about her, and as she arrives there, she grabs everyone's attention, and he's shocked by how cute she is. She plans to make him tell her how he really feels about her, but she's nervous because she isn't interested in dressing up. She thinks he must realize that she's asking for his attention, but she wonders if he's put off by her dress, since he even dropped his phone. But he mentions that her outfit looks fantastic, so she blushes, and she can't control herself, so she rushes to the bathroom, where she starts crying tears of joy, because he likes her outfit. After that, they go to Akihabara to buy a new computer, and Shizuri is shocked to see the posters of her favorite characters. They head to a shop, where she finds a rare figure, and she can't believe that it actually exists. She keeps finding things that she loves, and she thinks she needs to defeat all the demons quickly, so that she can spend the rest of her time doing things she likes. She wonders what they should eat, and she sees a kebab shop, but Tsukasa notes that their main goal is to buy a computer. But seeing how excited she is, he decides to let her do whatever she wants. While they're eating, Shizuri thinks she should act more like a lady, because she went to so much trouble to dress up. She recalls that the reason she put in so much effort today is because she plans to make Tsukasa tell her what he really feels about her, but she forgot about it since she was having too much fun. She tries to remember what he told her when he saw her, but she can't remember his exact words, so she calms herself down. She remembers how he told her that her dress looks good, which makes her blush, and he wonders if she's okay, so she makes an excuse that it's warm. Tsukasa runs into his friend Masa, and his girlfriend tells him to stop bothering Tsukasa, but he mentions that it's okay, since they were in school together. He asks him about Shizuri, because he finds her cute, and he wonders if she's his girlfriend. But Tsukasa mentions that they're just roommates, so Masa asks him to tell him everything. As Shizuri returns after getting ice cream for both of them, she sees Tsukasa with Masa. She overhears him telling Tsukasa that he seems to treat her like she's his pet, and she remembers that Aya said the same thing. She thinks it must be how Tsukasa sees her, since everyone thinks of it that way, but he pushes Masa back, telling him he's wrong. He reveals that she's the one who saved him, saying they spent all their time together, and he mentions that before meeting her, he was a nobody. But since she started to live with him, he's finally able to spend his days with her, instead of always being alone. He asks Masa if he knows how meaningful that is, saying she's extremely important to him. So Masa apologizes, saying it's great that they're happy together. Shizuri cries after hearing what he really thinks about her, and she mentions that it's unfair that he made her heart flutter again. But she can't understand her feelings, because even though her heart is throbbing, it feels warm and gentle. She also begins to feel cold, which surprises her, but she realizes that it's just the ice cream. After that, Tsukasa thanks her for helping him by the computer, but he sees that she isn't paying attention to him, so he wonders if she's okay. She tells him she's fine, but she thinks about how she can't even look at his face after she heard his true feelings. She thinks she's the one who isn't saying what she feels about him, and she grabs his hand to tell him everything. But a demon suddenly appears, so she gets angry, and she blows it up. She tries to continue their conversation, but he asks her if she's okay, because she's covered in blood. So she starts crying, and he wonders if she's in pain, but she's just sad that she lost the perfect chance to confess her feelings. We see Himari waiting for Tsukasa and Shizuri to show up, because she wants to know if they're a real couple. She sees them walking back to the apartment, but she realizes that Shizuri is covered in blood, so she wonders what happened. The next day, Himari talks to her friend named Tsumugi, and she tells her about Tsukasa's relationship with Shizuri. She reveals that she waited for hours to see how their date would end, but she mentions that it's the worst ending ever. Tsumugi realizes that she knows nothing about romance, so she becomes upset, but she admits that she has no experience. After that, Himari heads back to her apartment, and she thinks Shizuri has the potential to become Tsukasa's girlfriend because she wore his hoodie. Himari sees her in a good mood, thinking it's because she's in love, but she reveals that she's happy because her gaming PC has arrived. Aya approaches her, telling her someone's been following them, but Himari tells him not to worry because she knows that it's just an ordinary person. Aya asks her about the clothes she borrowed, but she explains that they're dirty, so she wants to clean them before she returns them. He tells her she doesn't need to wash them because he wants to smell her sweat when he holds them, but she sends him flying. She's excited to set up her computer, but Himari notes that there's no hope for her because she's just a loser. The next day, Himari sees Hina and Toru at the grocery store, and they mention that they want to be with each other, so she thinks they're the perfect couple. As she walks back home, she sees Tsukasa, and she asks him why he bought so much food. So he reveals that he's preparing for tomorrow, because he promised Shizuri that he'll spend his entire rest day playing with her. Himari wonders if he's the one doing the household chores, so he reveals that he does most of them, and she asks him if he's okay with that, because Shizuri is making him do all the work. But he explains that she helps him by doing a job that only she can do, and he mentions that he's happy because she always thanks him for doing the chores. They see Shizuri at the apartment, and he shows her the food he bought, as she notes that it's enough to feed them for 3 days. She looks forward to playing with him, and she thanks him for looking after her, but he also thanks her for protecting him, as Himari realizes that they actually have a good relationship. Himari talks to Tsumugi again, and she tells her she doesn't like Shizuri and Tsukasa's relationship because she thinks their love isn't genuine, but Tsumugi knows that she's actually okay with it. We see Hina and Toru at the park, where they're attacked by a demon, so Hina blasts it with her ninjutsu. A ninja named Kana suddenly appears, and Hina recognizes her as the leader of the shinobi village. She knows that they've been spending time with Shizuri, so she asks Hina where she can find her, because she wants to defeat her. So Hina takes Kana to her apartment, and she immediately challenges her to a duel, because she wants to prove that she's better than her. We learn that she's Shizuri's self-proclaimed rival, but she doesn't seem to care, and she continues to play her game, as she reminds Kana that she always loses to her. She becomes upset hearing this, and Hina tries to calm her down, but she starts scolding her for leaving the village without permission, telling her she's completely useless. Shizuri becomes nervous because Kana is ruining her mood, and she tries to put up a mirror barrier as Hina's misfortune causes an explosion. But she's too late, and the apartment is completely destroyed, as Tsukasa wonders what just happened. But everything suddenly returns to normal, and they wonder who put up a barrier. Aya joins them, and he asks them about the explosion, so they think he was the one who put up the barrier, but Shizuri notes that it's impossible, because he isn't smart enough to do that. Tsukasa wonders what a mirror barrier is, so Kana explains that it's a skill they use when they're fighting demons, which replaces the area around the creator. They use it to protect the real world while they're fighting, and once it's lifted, everything returns to normal. She mocks Tsukasa because he doesn't know about the barrier, even though he's Shizuri's master, but he wonders if she's a lost child from the village. So she becomes upset, and she mentions that she's Shizuri's rival, but she doesn't even care about her. She notes that the mirror barrier is an advanced ninjutsu, and she thinks the person who created it is immensely powerful, because it covered the entire building. The doorbell rings, and they realize that it's the landlady named Hazuki, but Shizuri recognizes her, wondering what she's doing there. But she suddenly appears behind her, and she realizes that Shizuri lost her touch. She reveals that Hazuki used to be the leader of the shinobi village, and she was the one who taught her how to fight. Kana wonders what she's doing there, so she reveals that she's making money, and she notes that she became obsessed with investing after she left the village. But she mentions that she also wants to gather the Ronin in her building, and she reveals that the founding warriors used a secret art to defeat demons. It was passed down to their descendants, who are called Ronin, but they don't know how to fight, so Hazuki decided to gather the Ronin there, so that she can protect them. But she explains that she hates suffering losses, and she activates the mirror barrier again. She reveals that it has been damaged, and it will cost a fortune to repair it, so she'll make them pay for everything. She takes them to the city, as she reveals that it will take 1 million yen to repair her barrier, but she promises to write off the incident if they do a job for her. Kana thinks she'll send them on a dangerous mission, but she takes them to a cafe, where they see maids serving customers with their love ninjutsu. She reveals that they're real ninjas, but they fled from their village, and she tells the girls they need to work there. So they dress up as maids, and they welcome the customers to the cafe. Hazuki tells them to get to work, but they explain that they don't know what to do yet, so she tells them to just wing it, saying their personality is what matters most. Shizuri notes that she has always been a bad teacher, and she reveals that she only learned ninjutsu because of her talent. We see Hina as she serves a customer, and she gives him his order, but as she tries to use her love jutsu, she almost burns him. So she apologizes for what happened, but we learn that he's actually happy because he likes clumsy girls. Aya entertains another customer, but he doesn't want to take orders from him, so he tries to intimidate him, but we see that the customer is enjoying it. Kana listens to a customer, who doesn't stop talking, and she notes that she has no idea what he's talking about. But he mentions that she's the cutest maid in the cafe, and she becomes flattered hearing this, because it means she looks better than Shizuri. Shizuri tries to do her job, as she admits that she's a total noob, but she suddenly feels sick, so she heads to the dressing room, where she rests until she recovers. But she's determined to finish her job, so that she can return to her usual routine. She greets the next customer, but she realizes that it's Tsukasa, so she freaks out, as Hazuki reveals that she decided to call him, since she wasn't doing well. Hazuki warns her that if she causes a decline in sales, her performance goals will increase, so she tries to serve him with her love jutsu, but she can't do it. Hina sees Toru, so she becomes embarrassed, because she doesn't want him to see her wearing the maid outfit. She drops the beer she's holding, but Shizuri catches it, and she decides to drink it, thinking she can do her job if she's drunk, but she immediately passes out. When she wakes up, she sees Tsukasa, and she tells him he's important to her, but she suddenly throws up. After that, Hazuki tells the girls that they have met their goals within 3 days, so their debt has been paid. They're glad that it's finally over, but Kana mocks Shizuri because their goals were increased after she threw up. Kana notes that they should be thanking her because they were able to meet their goals in 3 days, thanks to her excellent performance. Hazuki tells her she's right, as she reveals that Kana's sales were doubled out of Shizuri's, so she tells her she has incredible talent. After they change their clothes, Hazuki tells everyone they can take their outfits home, and Shizuri thinks about leaving her uniform behind. But Hina mentions that Tsukasa seems to like it, so Shizuri decides to take it home. That evening, we see Tsukasa walking back home, as he thinks about Shizuri. She told him to forget about everything she said while she was drunk, but he wonders what she meant when she told him he's important to her. We see Shizuri waiting for Tsukasa to return home, and she hears the doorbell, so she welcomes him back. But she realizes that it's Aya, who reveals that they switched uniforms, but he becomes excited when he sees her wearing his outfit, so she sends him flying. She realizes that Tsukasa is in trouble, and we see a demon attacking him, so he prepares to fight it, but it suddenly grows in size. Shizuri arrives, and she cuts it into pieces, as she tells him to call her when he runs into demons, because she wants to repay him by taking them out. We see them having dinner together, as Shizuri mentions that the food tastes delicious, and Tsukasa notes that he needs to go shopping tomorrow. She decides to go with him, and she invites him to play with her after they're done, but she suddenly senses danger, and the apartment explodes again. So he freaks out, but Hazuki reveals that she already activated the mirror barrier, and she mentions that she's been watching them, telling Shizuri to leave the apartment. She explains that it's not the place for a shinobi like her, asking Shizuri when she'll stop ignoring Tsukasa's power of the Lord. They start fighting with incredible speed, as Hazuki explains that his powers will keep attracting high-level demons, so Shizuri will eventually get into trouble. Hazuki suggests borrowing his power before a major threat appears, and she sends Shizuri crashing to the ground, but she asks her when she'll stop holding back. So she becomes upset, and she rushes forward, but Hazuki easily defeats her, telling her she has reached her limit. But Tsukasa suddenly protects her, and Hazuki threatens him with her magic, but he refuses to back down, saying he wants to continue living with Shizuri. So she decides to retreat for his sake, but she tells him to think it through, and she mentions that she won't show mercy next time. The next day, Shizuri tells Tsukasa she has decided to change her life, and she promises to do her best for him. She tries to look for a job, but she keeps getting rejected, so she feels useless, and she thinks fighting is the only thing she's good at. But she recalls how Tsukasa saved her, so she's determined to help him. She returns to the maid cafe, where she sees Kana, and she asks her what she's doing there. So she reveals that her village needs mirror barrier talismans, because their shinobis need it to fight demons. But she knows that only a ninja with high-level barrier technique can craft it, and she thinks Hazuki can do it, so she decided to work for her again, in exchange for talismans. Shizuri and Hana talk to the store manager, who asks them why they want to work as maids, so Shizuri explains that she enjoyed serving customers the last time she worked there. But Kana knows that she's lying, and she notes that Shizuri is only good at fighting, so she can't find a regular job. But Shizuri thinks Kana decided to work there because she actually enjoys serving customers as a maid. But she explains that it's not the case, and she considers backing out, as she notes that she just wants to help her village. But the manager reveals that Hazuki already decided to hire both of them, and she already knows about Kana's situation. We see Kana as she welcomes the customers to the cafe, telling them she had no choice but to return, and they're glad that she's now a regular employee. Tsukasa heads back home, and he's surprised to see Shizuri made dinner, but he mentions that she looks stressed, and she claims that she's fine, but we see that she's actually struggling. He eats the food she prepared, and he thinks it's delicious, but he suggests moving out of the apartment because he thinks Hazuki is bothering her. He tells her they can return to their old lives after they move out, but she explains that everything needs to change. She reveals that she's been enjoying her life at home while she helped other stray samurai, but she notes that she only had to protect them for a month. She left their homes after the demons stopped bothering them, but she tells him he's different because she's been protecting him for 6 months. But the demons just keep coming, and they're even getting stronger because he has a special bloodline. She thinks an extremely powerful demon will eventually appear, and she won't be able to protect him, telling him the only way to defeat it is to use the power of the Lord. She explains that it allows the user to control the earth's power, which can strengthen the ninjas who are serving them. But she tells him not to worry, because she'll get stronger so that she can defeat the demons, and she promises to do everything for him. But before going to bed, Tsukasa thinks about what he can do to help, because he knows that Shizuri is working hard for him. He notes that he can't keep doubting himself, because she needs his support, and he decides to do his best for her. We see Shizuri drawing on a piece of paper when Kana sees her, asking her what she's doing. So she reveals that she's thinking about a game called Puppy Girl, and she's trying to recreate a popular scene in her brain because she hasn't had the time to play it. But she realizes that her break time is over, so she uses a jutsu to get rid of her personal desires, and she immediately gets back to work. We cut to 2 high-level demons as they defeat a group of ninjas who can't believe how powerful they are. One of them, named Kira, mentions that the job is too easy, but her companion Krenna tells her she made a mess, and she reminds her that they snuck out, so they need to keep a low profile. She uses a device called the aniroll to read the memories of low-level demons, and they see Tsukasa, so they decide to make him their next target. Shizuri gives Hina a mirror barrier talisman, but she refuses to accept it because she knows that Shizuri worked hard to earn it. She tells her to take a break, but Shizuri shows her the drawings she made, so Hina realizes she's lost it. She starts crying, but Shizuri tells her to stop because she has reached her limit, so she might die if her bad luck is triggered. She reveals that she's depressed because she's about to miss a special event in her game where she has a chance to get the golden Shiba Inu she always wanted. Hina tells her to play the game, but she notes that she wants to stop being useless, and she's determined to do her best for Tsukasa. But Toru suddenly tells Hina he was able to get the golden Shiba Inu, so Shizuri becomes jealous and she runs off. We see Aya as he prepares to fight a demon, but he realizes that he just received a message from Shizuri. So he defeats the demon in an instant, and he realizes she wants him to visit her. So he rushes to her apartment, but he wonders why she wants to meet him, thinking she'll reward him by making him suffer. But he realizes that she isn't acting like her usual self, and she reveals that she quit playing games, so she doesn't know what to do during her free time. She tells him to get rid of her phone, so that it won't tempt her to play games again, and he wonders why she's giving it to him, because he knows that it's important to her. But she reveals that she trusts him, because she knows that he's been helping her hide from her village, and she notes that he's loyal to her, even though he acts like a pervert. He blushes hearing this, because she has finally recognized him, but he realizes that she's spacing out again. We see Shizuri as she heads back home, but she realizes that Tsukasa isn't there yet, so she decides to cook before he returns, but she ends up falling asleep. We cut to Tsukasa as he goes jogging, but the high-level demons suddenly appear behind him, and they threaten to kill him if he doesn't go with them. Kira tells him he doesn't stand a chance because he doesn't know how to use his powers, but Shizuri suddenly arrives to save him. Krenna recognizes her as a candidate for the leader of her village, and Kira looks forward to fighting her, but Krenna shows her a video uploaded by a low-level demon. They realize that Shizuri is making Tsukasa do everything while she's home, so Kira feels sorry for him, and she promises to give him a proper kidnapping. She prepares to fight Shizuri, and Krenna creates a mirror barrier so that nobody can interrupt them. Shizuri charges in, but Kira counters, and she easily overpowers her, as she mentions that she won't lose to a runaway ninja. We cut to Kana, as the other maids tell her she's doing a great job, but Hazuki suddenly arrives, and Kana asks her what happened, because she appears to be in terrible condition. So she tells Kana she's okay, but she mentions that she needs her help. We see Shizuri lying on the ground, and Tsukasa rushes to her side. Kira prepares to kill them, but Shizuri deflects her attack, telling her she won't let her kill Tsukasa. She thinks she has failed as a ninja, because she couldn't help him escape, but Kira continues to attack her, so she uses her explosive talismans, and they both get caught in the explosion. Tsukasa worries about her, and she reveals that she knew this would happen, but she didn't do anything, because she wanted to continue living with him. She tells him he's the first person who accepted her for who she is, and she enjoyed every moment she spent with him, so she wants to protect him with her life. Kira is about to finish her off, but Tsukasa suddenly protects her, and she pushes Kira back. She's impressed that Tsukasa has awakened the power of the Lord, but Kira interrupts them, and she starts attacking him relentlessly. Krenna notes that Tsukasa doesn't stand a chance, because the only thing he can do is block with his shield, and it's about to break, so Shizuri protects him with her body. Kira prepares to cut them down, but she suddenly gets attacked, and Kana appears, telling her she's the leader of the shinobi village. She prepares to fight Kira, who thinks she's annoying since she's so full of herself, but Krenna tells her she looks cute in her outfit. She tells Tsukasa to heal Shizuri by putting his hand on her wound, so he decides to try it, and he can't believe it's working. Kana mentions that she'll buy time for them to escape, and Shizuri warns her that she can't defeat Kira, but she reveals that she's not alone. Hina appears, and she mentions that she wants to help Shizuri because she has done so much for her. Aya also joins them, and he gives Shizuri her phone, telling her he helped her collect gems in her game so she can pull the gacha until she's satisfied. She becomes excited hearing this, and she thanks him for his help. Everyone prepares to fight, as Kana tells Hina to cover her in Aya, but she can't believe Hina is only using a beginner-level ninjutsu. She admits that she can't use higher-level techniques, but she creates a massive pillar of fire, which impresses everyone. Kana can't believe how powerful she is, but she wonders if she overdid it, and she reveals that she tried to hold back. But Aya tells her to hit him with her strongest attack while he lures one of them in. The girls are worried that he might die, but he reveals that he's willing to risk his life for his master, and they respect his resolve, but we learn that he really just wants to suffer. He rushes forward, and he starts chasing after Krenna as he gets turned on, so Kira realizes that he's insane. Krenna gets cornered, and Aya tells Hina to do it, so she prepares her attack as he grabs onto Krenna. They both get caught in a massive explosion, but Krenna manages to walk away unharmed. She tells Hina her attack was amazing, so she had to use her most powerful barrier to defend herself, and she sees her as a threat, so she decides to kill her before she can use another technique. But Aya suddenly sends her flying, and Hina is glad that he's still alive, but she realizes he isn't acting like his usual self. He thanks her for blasting him with all her might, but he tells her to support Kana while he takes care of Krenna. She notes that he has incredible strength because he was able to send her flying, and he reveals that he planned everything so that he can fight her with his full power. He activates his man mode as she realizes that he was just pretending to be a girl. We learn that he has a unique technique which allows him to transform into a girl, and he can maintain it as long as he stays calm. But it consumes his energy while it's active, so he can't fight with his full strength, and the only way to undo it is to take massive damage. Tsukasa tells Shizuri he's almost done healing her, but she decides to leave the apartment after the fight. She notes that she isn't strong enough to protect him and thinks she has failed as a ninja, but he tells her it's his fault because he completely relied on her. He explains that he always went with the flow and thought his life had no value, but she helped him realize he isn't worthless. So he wants to protect her and tells her to continue enjoying her life with him. She suddenly kisses him, telling him they've formed a true contract, and she promises to stay by his side. She notes that she's glad they met each other, telling him she loves him, and she leaves to fight Kira. We see Kana and Hina struggling against Kira, and she prepares to finish them off, but Shizuri suddenly blows her away. She thanks everyone for their help, and we learn that she has unlocked a new level of power because Tsukasa told her to stay with him, and she even has an insane amount of gems for her gacha game. Kira charges at her, and she unleashes her full power, but Shizuri realizes that she has 5 minutes before the Golden Shiba Inu event ends, so she tells Kira she needs a timeout. But Kira becomes mad hearing this, and she starts attacking Shizuri, who dodges everything, while she tries to get the Golden Shiba. Kana can't believe a video game improved her speed and dexterity, but she keeps pulling trash. She only has 1 gem left, so she becomes furious, thinking the pull rate is rigged, but Kira tells her to take their fight seriously. But she notes that she needs to repay the sacrifices her friends made by pulling the Golden Shiba. Everyone thinks she's ridiculous, but Kira suddenly covers the area with darkness, and Shizuri notes that she can't see anything. Kira prepares to attack her from behind, but she suddenly pulls the Golden Shiba, so she celebrates and accidentally sends Kira flying. She crashes to the ground and explains that fighting is the only reason she exists, so she won't lose to a ninja who hardly has to fight. But Shizuri notes that she lives in a brutal world where she could die at any moment. Everyone thinks she's talking about the shinobi world, but she reveals she was talking about her MMR, and Kana tells her to stop messing around. Kira starts crying because she's no match for Shizuri, and Krenna reveals that their father found out they ran away from home. So Kira tells Shizuri to remember her, because she'll get her revenge, and Krenna drags her into a portal, but Shizuri suddenly collapses. Kana notes that Shizuri has reached her limit, so she needs time to recover, but Kana wonders how Tsukasa acquired the power of the Master. Hazuki joins them, and she explains that the power of the Master uses the energy of a ley line to strengthen a shinobi. But it needs to pass through a gateway called the Dragon Vein Chakra, which allows the user to manipulate the energy. Kana knows that it requires training to open the gateway, but Hazuki reveals that she used a forbidden jutsu to open it, which explains why Tsukasa can already use his powers. But she reveals that she can no longer use her skills, because she had to sacrifice her chakra to do it. She tells him to take care of her daughter Shizuri, and everyone can't believe she's her mother. She reveals that she's part of a group with a bad reputation, so when Shizuri was chosen as the next leader of their village, their relationship as mother and child ended. Hazuki became Shizuri's trainer, and she notes that she has never done anything motherly for her. But Shizuri suddenly wakes up, and she realizes that she wasn't dreaming because she got the golden Shiba. Hina congratulates her for forming a true contract with Tsukasa, and she remembers that she kissed him, so she becomes embarrassed. The others think they'll want time to themselves, so they leave them in the room and wish Shizuri luck. The next day, Himari asks Tsukasa what's wrong with Shizuri, so he notes that she isn't feeling well, but Himari thinks they're getting intimate while he's taking care of her. Tsukasa visits Hazuki, and he thanks her for unlocking his powers. She reveals that she looked into him, so she knows that he lost his parents at a young age, and he was adopted by a couple who treated him as their own. But he was prone to accidents and illnesses, and never got along with others. In a flashback, we see Tsukasa as he wins a fighting game tournament, and Shizuri tells him he's amazing. They start spending time together, and she thinks he's cool because his gaming skills are unrivaled, but he suddenly starts crying and tells her he doesn't know why. She notes that she wants him to become her master, telling him she'll protect him because she's a ninja. But a demon suddenly appears, and she jumps into action, but it easily defeats her. It's about to finish her off, but Hazuki suddenly appears and kills it with a single blow. She erases Tsukasa's memories, and when he wakes up, he becomes confused because he has no idea what just happened. We return to the present as Hazuki reveals that she did it to protect Shizuri because she still wasn't strong enough to defeat demons. Hazuki notes that she also lost her memories because of her injuries, but she became committed to her training after the incident. Tsukasa mentions that things are different now, so Hazuki asks him if he wants to tell Shizuri, but he thinks there's no need to do it. He leaves Hazuki's room, but Himari sees him, and she wonders what he's doing there. He returns home, and he realizes that Shizuri has recovered, so he invites her to play with him. We see everyone in a bathhouse, where Aya asks Shizuri if she wants a massage, but she tells him to stay away from her. They enjoy the experience as he keeps his distance, and we see them in the sauna, where he tries to get close to Shizuri, but she threatens him with her towel. They suddenly sense a demon, and they see that it's approaching Tsukasa and Toru, so Kana deploys her mirror barrier. But she realizes that the demon is an octopus, and she passes out because she's afraid of them. Shizuri prepares to fight, but Aya reminds her that they can't summon their ninja suits because they left their transformation items in the dressing room. It blows him away, and Shizuri thinks they don't need their ninja suits to defeat it, but it attacks them with corrosive ink, which melts their swimsuits. So Shizuri tells the boys not to look. Hina tries to use her ninjutsu to defeat the demon, but Toru cheers for her, and she loses her focus, so her spell fails. The boys cover their eyes, and they start cheering for Shizuri, but the demon grabs onto the girls and starts absorbing their energy. It prepares to attack the boys, but Aya protects them, and he starts fighting the demon, but it recovers as it absorbs the girl's energy. It knocks him down and starts absorbing his powers, but he notes that his energy has become one with Shizuri. The octopus throws up hearing this, and Shizuri holds Tsukasa's hand to recover her energy. She delivers the finishing blow, which sends the demon flying. After that, Kana wakes up, and she realizes that the demon has been defeated. Aya tells her it's time to eat, but she realizes they're eating octopus, so she passes out again. Meanwhile, in Kana's village, we see her younger sister Yuzu, who asks her grandfather about Kana, so he reveals that she's getting mirror barrier talismans for everyone. But Yuzu wants to know what she's doing outside the village, so she decides to look for her. As she leaves the village, she recalls that Kana taught her how to fight and told her never to give up. She hopes that Kana hasn't forgotten the days they spent together, because she's been away for a long time. At the maid cafe, we see Kana serving the customers with her love jutsu, and they tell her she's the best, and they all ask for seconds. The other maids think she's amazing, but they wonder why she's still working in the cafe, because Hazuki can no longer make talismans. They see that she's happy while she's serving the customers, so they realize she has fallen in love with her job. Yuzu reaches the city, where she sees a couple, but she thinks they're shameless because they aren't keeping their relationship a secret. But they tell her she looks ridiculous, and everyone starts taking pictures of her since she's dressed as a ninja. She thinks they're using evil machines to take her soul, so she tries to get away. She bumps into Shizuri, and she recognizes her, so she decides to spend time with her. Shizuri asks her what she's doing in the city, so she reveals that she's looking for her sister, but she forgot to ask her grandfather where she can find her. She asks Shizuri to help her find Kana, and Shizuri knows that she's working in the cafe, but she asks Yuzu why she's looking for her. But she refuses to answer the question, and Shizuri realizes she has a weapon, so she thinks Yuzu is up to no good. She notes that she doesn't know where to find her, but Hina suddenly appears, and she mentions that she's heading to the maid cafe because she needs to deliver something to Kana. So Yuzu knows where to find her, and she makes her way to the cafe, as Shizuri and Hina try to stop her, because they think she will harm Kana. She throws her knives to stop Hina, and Shizuri notes that she's a skilled shinobi, thinking she means serious business. She reaches the cafe, and Kana asks her what she's doing there, but she starts crying as she hugs her, telling her she missed her. We learn that she's obsessed with Kana because she always cheered her up whenever she was sad, and Yuzu notes that she doesn't know what she would do if Kana forgot about her. The customers think they look cute, but she asks Kana about her outfit, and there's suddenly an announcement, which mentions that she's the maid of the month. Yuzu asks her to explain everything, but she doesn't want to break character in front of everyone. So she explains that she isn't working there because she wants to, but she doesn't hate her job either. The customers think she's the best, but Yuzu starts crying because she's nothing like the big sister she knows. Yuzu can't believe Kana is working in a maid cafe and thinks she has lost her dignity, but we see a group of weirdos following her. We see Kana in the dressing room, as Shizuri notes that her sister left the village just to meet her, so she should think about how Yuzu feels. Kana tells her to mind her own business, and they start fighting, but Hina tells them to calm down. Shizuri and Hina decide to look for Yuzu, and Kana serves the customers, but her fans aren't happy because they know that she isn't putting her heart into her act. They want her to find her sister because they know that she's concerned about her, and they tell her they'll wait for her to return. Yuzu is alone in an alley when the weirdos approach her, offering to show her a good time. But she smashes the wall and notes that the city corrupted Kana, so she wants to destroy everyone. She prepares to attack them, but Shizuri and Hina suddenly arrive, and they invite her to go sightseeing, but she sends Shizuri flying. Everyone runs away, and Yuzu starts crying because she thinks Kana will abandon her to stay in the city, but Hazuki gives her a handkerchief. She reveals that she made the mirror barrier talismans, but she can no longer create them. Yuzu wonders why Kana is still in the city, thinking Hazuki is deceiving her. But she explains that she was planning to let Kana go after she lost her powers, but Kana insisted on staying, so that she can learn how to make mirror barrier talismans from her. Yuzu realizes that Kana never forgot about their village, and she suddenly shows herself, telling Yuzu to stop making her worry because she has lost sight of what's happening around her. Kana tells her she never changes, and she recalls the last time they watched the sunset together, realizing Kana is still the big sister she knows and loves. After that, Kana returns to the maid cafe and performs in front of everyone as the host introduces Yuzu as her sister. Everyone thinks they're adorable, and Hazuki notes that their dispute was bad for business, so they need to make up for the trouble they caused at her cafe. Kana starts moving like a cat, but Yuzu can't stand seeing her sister dressed as a performer, so she runs off. But Kana doesn't break character, and the customers think she's the best. Himari thinks Tsukasa is cheating because she saw him come out of Hazuki's room, and she notes that she can't stand it, so she decides to talk to Shizuri. She visits her apartment, but doesn't know what to say because she never talked to her before. Shizuri tries to keep her distance because she finds her sus, and she asks Himari what she wants to say about Tsukasa. But she freaks out because she can sense that Shizuri is suspicious of her. She continues to observe Himari, wondering what kind of relationship she has with Tsukasa, and thinks she went there because she has a crush on him. Shizuri is afraid that she'll try to steal him, so she decides to get rid of her. But Himari reveals that she saw him coming out of another woman's room. She wants Himari to tell her everything and asks her who the woman is, so she reveals that it's Hazuki, saying he went to her place while Shizuri was sick. She realizes that it happened after she fought Kira and thinks he went to Hazuki's place for her sake, so she tells Himari it's okay because Hazuki is like family to her. Himari apologizes for misunderstanding the situation, but Shizuri tells her it's okay, knowing she went there because she's worried about her. She thinks that Shizuri is a good person and thinks she helps Tsukasa with the housework because the apartment seems so clean, but the closet suddenly bursts open, surrounding them with trash. She struggles to clean the place up and starts crying but Himari finds her adorable and thinks Tsukasa likes her because of her strange personality. He returns home and realizes the apartment is a mess, but Himari appears to be happy, so he wonders what happened. After that, Himari tells Tsumugi that love takes different forms depending on the person, saying Shizuri and Tsukasa have a special kind of love. She thinks Tsumugi should find someone as well, but she tells Himari to shut up, reminding her she's also alone. We return to Shizuri, as she notes that she'll never hang out with her neighbors again. Tsukasa invites her to join him in Akihabara, and she's excited to go with him. Hina tries to serve food with her love jutsu, but she's too embarrassed to do it, and ends up ruining the room with her bad luck. But Toru tells her it's okay, and thanks her for trying. He explains that he'll be working late, so he won't be having dinner with her, but they kiss before he leaves. We see Aya fighting a demon, which starts pummeling him, but he notes that it still isn't enough, because it's nothing compared to the pain Hina gave him when they fought Krenna. He starts to feel conflicted, because he wants to be loyal to Shizuri, but Hina can give him greater pleasure. He defeats the demon, and talks to Hina, telling her they need to have a special training session, because they need to master the technique they used on Krenna. But we learn that he just wants to experience the pain again, and Hina doesn't appear to be interested. But he tells her they need to do it to protect Shizuri from high-level demons, so she decides to do her best, and he looks forward to getting blasted by her. Aya deploys his mirror barrier, and Hina prepares to use her spell, but it suddenly fails, so he wonders what happened. Hina apologizes for screwing up, and she tries to do it again, but she keeps failing and eventually reaches her limit. He becomes upset because he wants to go out with a bang, but she explains that she doesn't want him to get hurt since she considers him as her friend. He wants her to hate him so that she can burn him like he's trash, and he disguises himself as a garbage bag, telling her to hit him with everything she's got. She refuses to do it, but she suddenly sees Toru with another girl, so she becomes devastated, and her bad luck goes beyond its limit. She creates a powerful inferno, which burns Aya, and he notes that he has finally found the greatest source of pleasure. He later wakes up in a crater and realizes the spell caused him to turn back into a guy. Aya returns home, and he plans to use Shizuri's outfit to recover, but as he starts sniffing it, a gust of wind suddenly blows it away. He tries to get it back, but he gets hit by a bucket, and he crashes to the ground. We see Shizuri playing a game on her phone, as she talks to Hina about Toru, and she thinks they're a happy couple. She's about to finish her game, but her phone suddenly malfunctions because of Hina's bad luck. The girls start drinking together, and we see Hina is depressed because of Toru, while Kana is sad because Yuzu hasn't talked to her. Tsukasa gives them food, but Kana and Hina won't stop crying, so Shizuri decides to drink with them. But she immediately gets drunk, and she starts laughing, telling them how great things are going with Tsukasa. He hears the doorbell ringing, so he checks to see who it is. But we see Aya in the laundry area, where he finds more of Shizuri's clothes to recover his energy. Toru suddenly joins the girls, and Hina asks him about the girl she saw in the park. But he gives her a necklace, telling her the girl was his coworker, and she helped him buy a present for her. He tells Hina it's a special day, because it's the 100-day anniversary of the first time they held hands, and Kana is relieved. But Shizuri finds them annoying, and she makes Tsukasa join them so that she'll also have a partner. Kana becomes upset because she's the only one without a partner, so she wants them to teach her how to attract a guy. Hazuki appears, and she notes that she's already drunk, but she tells Kana she can teach her for the right price. Kana dresses as a rabbit, and everyone takes pictures of her, telling her she looks amazing. Yuzu enters through the window, and she asks Kana what she's wearing, but she explains that she's doing it for their village, telling Yuzu to join her. Himari prepares to ring the doorbell, but she gets squashed as Yuzu suddenly comes out, and she notes that she can't stand Kana when she's drunk. She also goes outside, and hopes Yuzu will forgive her, but she decides to continue drinking with the others. Himari calls Tsumugi, and she notes that it's dangerous getting involved with other people's love. Aya turns back into a girl, and he tries to leave without getting detected, but everyone sees him, and Shizuri sends him flying. We see Tsukasa talking to Shizuri, who apologizes for making him take care of her drunk friends, but he tells her it's okay, saying he also had fun. He reveals that he used to live a boring life, but everything changed after he met her, because her smile makes him happy. He tells her he loves her, and she notes that the feeling's mutual, but as they are about to kiss, Kira and Krenna suddenly interrupt them. Kira wants to have a rematch, but Shizuri is furious they interrupted her moment. so she holds Sakasa's hand to recover her energy and destroys them with her full power. But that's where this video ends. Remember to like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.